Bit of a simpler, more general video today. I know the last couple of videos have been plugs for stuff, right? If not, if Home Team, if my new freeware coding educational game, Self-Commando stuff. Today I just want to talk about a more common strategic point that is I think a useful thing to consider at some interval for all of us. And that is, what is the ratio of your balance between maintaining the routine that you have versus improving it, right? Making changes to it, tweaking, reassessing, even if to go back to the way you are, to consider, is this the right routine to be doing? And there's stages of our life and the situations people can be in, right? This isn't even necessarily a fault. Sometimes it's not an option. Sometimes to tread water, to stay where we are. We have to survive. We've got to do 100%. Okay, stay on focus, do the job I've currently got, stay on track, do the stuff I'm currently doing. But it can help, right? To have at least a shred, at least a little bit of reflection on, but am I doing the right thing? And a way I think it's helpful to think about this, right, is there's a direction you're currently going in. There's a way you're currently going about it. And that if you just keep doing what you've been doing, no matter how well you do it, if that's what you're doing, it's going to get you to a certain point. And you can sit down, you can connect the dots, you can extrapolate into the future. If you keep doing what you've been doing, where are you going to get? Right? Or where are you likely, right? All probability considered, where is it heading for you? Because that's what opens up to us the realization that there's things we can do to course correct, to change direction. And it may be hard to do a bunch of it, but even a little bit can make a big difference. It's one of those things we talked about in another video, right? A small change, and it's a classic point. A small change in direction now, further down, leads to a whole different place. I think sometimes what causes us to avoid that reflection on, am I going in the right direction, is a couple things I think I want to address today. First of which is that basically for early stages of life, that change is forced on us. Every few years, we get pushed out of elementary into middle school, out of middle school into high school. After high school, we're kind of pushed and encouraged towards go to college. Whether or not that's what you wind up doing, if you do, you wind up picking a major. If you're not, you wind up picking career tracks. But very quickly, we're kind of pushed towards things will change whether or not we intended to change them. Past a certain point, that stops being true. Until and unless you make an active choice in a way that no one else can make for you, your parents can't make for you, your boss can't make for you, your spouse can't make for you, nobody else can make for you, you're going to probably kind of keep some momentum. And momentum's a natural thing, and there can be benefits to that if you're feeling good about the spot you're in, the direction it's headed, and how you're going about it. But it also can be something where we can get stuck in it. This is the second point, because part of what happens is, to reconsider direction, we're retreating from what we know. And that can be really uncomfortable, right? Part of why we have the routine is it's nice, it's routine, it's comforting. I'm doing what I know how to do. I'm doing the thing that I know, the way I know how to do it. And the problem with that, of course, is it means that we're not necessarily learning, growing, considering other directions. As soon as we're trying to reassess, is this doing the right thing and the right way to be doing it to get me where I want to go? We are floating. We're off in space. We're testing things that we aren't sure about. We're wading into stuff that we've never done before. We're trying out stuff that we don't feel comfortable at. Obviously, anything that we do feel comfortable at or do as routine at some point had to be like that. And this is where another way I think it starts to kind of cement on us as we get older, as because we have things that we are better at. We have things we're more expert in. We have things we have background expertise, credentials, whatever. It becomes harder and harder sometimes to go from the comfort of what I'm now pretty good at, established, doing very well, to then go even put a toe in the water of trying, yeah, but what about this other thing? What about this other skill? What about this other topic? What about the section of the bookstore I've never really bothered to go in? Is there something there for me? What about this skill that I've always kind of assumed to lean on a team member? They'll figure it out. Couldn't I figure it out? Is that a thing that would interest me? And this can open up a lot of doors, passageways, futures to you that are available, but only if you're not just staying the course, maintaining what you've been doing, staying on the routine, going the direction you were going, the way you were going, and instead taking a step back. And again, it could be 1%, 5%, 10%. Probably hard to go above that percentage versus just kind of, again, at some point you got to also keep operating, keep things moving, keep the dishes spinning, plate spinning. But what you don't want to do is you don't want to let it be zero, right? You don't want it to be zero. If it winds up zero, it's where you wind up stuck. That's where you wind up caught off guard by regretting, gosh, if I had just looked around at all, I would have figured out that years ago it would have been nice to have made a pivot. It would have been helpful to have learned to round up my skill set. It would have just been more enjoyable to add some variety to my life, to fit in more into my upgrade trees, if you will. Because we get a lot of diminishing returns when 100% of our energy is on going the direction we're going, the way we're going, without even reassessing. And I want to say one more time again, it is also perfectly valid to be going your direction, following your routine, most of your energy, 98, 95% of the time, to then take that other percent of the time, the 2%, the 5%, whatever you can afford, towards exploration mode, testing, sampling, trying other stuff out, adding to your repertoire, doing something just because you haven't done it. Right? It'd be like when I had never made a puzzle game before, so I made a puzzle game just so I could try it, because maybe I loved it. I'd have no way to know until I tried it. I can't tell based on if someone else likes it. You don't know till you put that shoe on. Well, in those kind of cases, right, you could still try something else out and still go exactly right back to like, no, having checked that, this is still the way to go. Right? Every year or so, right, our lease comes up, renewal here for our apartment. And part of our process, there we go, check out other apartments, 3, 5, 10, 8 of them, whatever. Not because we're planning to move, but because if we want to stay, we want to make sure we validated that's our up-to-date assumption for what you get for this price range in this area with these amenities, yada, yada. It's fine to explore, if only to give you the confidence and clarity of like, no, we are doing the right thing to stay here doing this the way that we're doing it. Right? And that can actually be an accelerator, because it gets rid of the question marks of, am I on the right track? Am I doing this right? And that can cause you to hold back. So anyway, lots of benefits, even if you do stay the track, even if you do stay the course, to occasionally figuring out how much of that ratio, what percentage of your time you're able to put towards not just maintaining what you've been doing the way you've been doing it, but reassessing, is this the way I want to be doing it? Is this improving my routine? Or is there more I can be doing, more I could be reading, more I could be learning about to change my direction or the way I'm going in the direction I'm already going in? Because over the time, it's going to add up, and it's the sort of thing it's like a lot of investment energy done earlier can make a staggering difference over time, and it's only gets, I don't want to say trickier as more time passes, but like I mentioned, just a couple of factors that cause it to solidify more and more if we ignore it instead of giving it some space. And lastly, I'll even just say it's a situation where even if the actual delta achieved by the energy put into the exploration isn't significant, even if it's not a massive immediate overnight change or something, it can actually be really good for your morale, for your mental headspace. Let's say you are feeling kind of a bit of a rut, right? You're doing something and it's not quite the way you wish it was going, but it's what you know how to do, so you do it, and you got the clarity, you got that certainty, that feels good. Even the idea that you are gradually course correcting, you're gradually opening up more doors, you're gradually making progress to change your situation, just that knowledge, regardless of how much difference it's actually making yet, can be very motivating. It can be very freeing. It can take a lot of stress, pressure, overwhelm, dark clouds off of us from feeling like, okay, well, whatever my situation is right now, I'm making moves in the right direction. However small, those moves can be real good for our morale, for our headspace, for our clarity, for creating that wiggle room to then maybe wiggle a little bit more. That's it for now. I know there's kind of a few thoughts in there. I think they're all kind of constellations around the same deal. Anyway, a little different topic. Just want to ramble for a bit. Thanks for hearing me out. Catch you another day. Bye for now.